Ever wonder why smart people with all their knowledge still make huge money mistakes? Yeah, me too. Let me break it down for you in a way that's gonna make you laugh, nod, and think, hey, I do that. You're about to learn why our brains play tricks on us when it comes to money and how to avoid those traps. Let's get into it. Make sure to watch the video from start to finish for the full experience, or if you're short on time, feel free to jump to the chapter that interests you using the timestamps in the description below. 1. The illusion of skill. All right, let's kick this off with a big one. The illusion of skill. We've all been there. Maybe you made a good trade in the stock market, or you bought something on sale and felt like you had just cracked the code to wealth. But here's the thing. Sometimes it's just pure luck. In the book, the authors explain that we tend to believe our success is a result of our own genius, when often it's random chance. This belief leads to overconfidence. You think you're an expert because you've had a few wins, and before you know it, you're making bigger and riskier bets, convinced that luck will always be on your side. But the truth is, the more we feel confident, the more we're at risk of ignoring the real factors at play. That's when we make mistakes. Actionable step. So how do we beat this? First, recognize that luck plays a big role in outcomes. If you win big one time, don't assume you're invincible. Next time you're feeling that surge of confidence, take a step back, reflect, and ask yourself, is this skill or just a lucky streak? You know how sometimes you nail an answer on a quiz and think you're a genius, but then fail the next 5? Same idea. Hit that like button if you've ever had a lucky streak and thought you were on top of the world. 2. Loss aversion. All right, next, let's talk about loss aversion. The thing that makes us freak out over losing $10, but ignore the $100 we could have saved by shopping smarter. Ever held onto a stock just because you don't want to admit it's tanking? Guilty! Here's the thing. We feel the pain of a loss much more intensely than the joy of a gain. The book says this emotional response can make us hold on to losing investments for far too long, thinking, if I just wait a little longer, it'll turn around. Spoiler alert, it often doesn't. It's like when you've eaten 2/3 of a pizza and think, I'm so close to finishing, I'm not wasting it. But really, you should have stopped 3 slices ago. Actionable step. The trick is to recognize the fear of loss and not let it paralyze you into bad decisions. If something is underperforming, don't wait forever for it to come back. Let it go. Acknowledge the loss, but keep your eyes on the future. Personal story. I remember once holding onto a stock for far too long because I didn't want to admit I'd made a bad decision. It was like holding onto a sinking ship. Eventually, I had to let go. That experience taught me the value of cutting my losses quickly, even when it stings. 3. The anchoring effect. Okay, story time. I once went to buy a TV. The first price I saw was $1,000. Then I found a discount at $800. I was like, what a deal. But hold on, was it really? Probably not. But because I was anchored to that first price, I thought $800 was a steal. This is called the anchoring effect. When the first number you see, or the first piece of info you get, sticks with you, and it messes with your decisions. The book talks about how we're hardwired to compare everything to the first number we see, even if it's irrelevant. It's not just about price tags. It can happen with anything: salaries, home prices, or even the amount of money you plan to spend. That first piece of info sticks in your mind, and you base all future decisions on it. But is it really the best deal? Actionable step. Next time you're making a decision, don't settle for the first price or piece of information. Take a moment to reframe your thinking and ask yourself, is this the best deal, or am I just influenced by this first number? 4. The endowment effect. Now this one really hits home. You ever find yourself overvaluing something just because you own it? Yeah, I'm talking about that old car, or those clothes you haven't worn in ages. You tell yourself, hey, it's still good, when deep down you know it's not. This is the endowment effect, and it's a trap that we all fall into. The book explains that once we own something, we tend to think it's worth more than it really is. We're attached to it, and that attachment clouds our judgment even when it's time to let go. Think about the last time you couldn't part with something old, like that vintage jacket, because you've had it for years. Yeah, it's probably not worth as much as you think. Actionable step. Take a good hard look at your stuff. Is that old gadget or worn-out item really adding value to your life? If not, it's time to let it go. Stop clinging to things because of sentimental value. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel once you do. 5. Mental accounting. Here's the one where we trick ourselves into thinking a bonus or windfall is free money that we can spend however we want. You know, like when you get a tax refund and think, it's like a little gift from the universe, and suddenly you're buying everything in sight. But here's the truth. Money is money. The book dives into how we tend to mentally separate money into different buckets, salary money versus windfall money, and treat them differently, even though they're all really the same. It's just numbers in a bank account. But because of this mental accounting, we often end up wasting windfalls. Actionable step. Treat all your money equally. Just because you got a bonus doesn't mean it should be spent recklessly. Budget it, invest it, or save it for a rainy day. Don't just blow it. This keeps you aligned with your long-term goals. 6. The Dunning-Kruger Effect. We all think we're experts at something we've just learned about, even though we're totally not. It's like when I tried to become an amateur investor for a month and thought I was going to beat the market. Spoiler, I did not. At all. This is the Dunning-Kruger Effect. Thinking you know everything because you know a little. The book explains that the less you know about something, the more confident you become in your abilities. It's like taking one cooking class and thinking you're ready for a 5-star restaurant. Actionable step, always keep learning. Don't assume that the little bit you know makes you an expert. Be willing to ask questions, seek advice, and learn from those who've been doing it longer. Your future self will thank you. 7. The Sunk Cost Fallacy. Okay, this one is tough. The sunk cost fallacy makes us stick with bad decisions because we've already invested time, money, or effort. Ever feel like you have to finish that Netflix series even though you're bored out of your mind? Same thing with money. The book talks about how we often overcommit to things because we've already put so much into them. The problem is, those past investments are gone. The money you spent, the time you've invested, that's all sunk. And holding on longer only compounds the mistake. Actionable step. If something is no longer working, let it go. Whether it's an investment, a project, or even a hobby, don't let past time and money stop you from making a smart decision today. Cut your losses and move forward. The future's waiting. 8. The Bandwagon Effect. Finally, let's talk about the Bandwagon Effect. When you make decisions just because everyone else is. Oh, Bitcoin's up? I'm in! Oh, real estate's booming? I need a property! The book dives into how we often jump on trends without thinking critically because we see everyone else doing it. This leads to herd behavior, where we get swept up in the excitement of the crowd and end up making decisions that don't fit our needs or financial goals. Actionable step. Don't follow the crowd. Make decisions that are right for you. Do your research, think about your personal financial goals, and stick to your plan. Don't get swayed just because something is trending. Conclusion. All right, so now that you know the 8 big money mistakes smart people make, it's time to start making smarter choices with your money. Remember, these biases are natural, but you can beat them by staying aware and making informed decisions. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And for more tips on how to make smarter money moves, check out my playlist on personal finance. There's even more where this came from.